Listen, we didn't knock off the losing streak, but we didn't lose. That's the important part. Welcome, everybody, to today's edition of PHLY Union Podcast. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, JP Zapata. Joined as always with the lovely Renee Washington. Renee, how are we doing today on this beautiful Monday?
Is it beautiful?
I can't tell. I've been here since 8 in the morning.
So I weirdly feel like I'm in a twilight zone right now. This day feels like a fog.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know what that means. I guess I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I have some fun soccer stories to tell you over my adventurous weekend in New York. I don't know how or why I was in New York following another playoff loss by our Philadelphia 76ers, but I had to sit in Madison Square Garden 3 days after the Sixers get eliminated. So I was surrounded by a bunch of Knicks fans, but it was fun. I did on Saturday. We had the Gotham City players in the area in Jersey City. It was really cool to see. I get a text from my future father-in-law saying, "JP, there's U.S. women players in this restaurant." He's going freaking crazy, which is cool to see. Renee, so I'm walking down New York, and they're in the street. I could tell this is Colombian jersey. I thought it was the club from Medellin.
What?
It was my arch rival. And so I had to bite my lips so hard because it was a mom with 2 kids. I wanted her to enjoy.
She was wearing a jersey?
She was wearing the jersey, a team I hate more than the Red Bull.
Wait, so it's that bad for you that even if a person's wearing the jersey, you're like...
Listen, América de Cali and Deportivo Cali, we don't like each other, all right? And I wanted to say, because I see a Colombian jersey, I want to say something, but I had to walk right by this lady.
What?
The kids even had jerseys too. Like, it was the cutest thing ever, but I can't support that.
Because it was Colombia?
It was Deportivo Cali. I'm América de Cali. We're the Red Devils.
See,
they are the Sugarmen. Ironically,
maybe I'm like a bad fan because things like that don't get to me. Like if you're rocking, it depends on the time and place.
I get it.
Like if you're just walking down the street and I see you in a jersey of a team that's a rival of mine, like if you're rocking, like, let's say we're in a Cowboys jersey, I'm not going to be like, ugh. Screw you.
Well,
but if we're at a game or something, totally different.
If I say Cowboys or something.
Or in like a bar, maybe. It depends on the setting.
I give a stank face. Like, this one, I just had to bite my tongue and keep walking.
Are DC United and the Union becoming a rival? I know people were talking about it on Twitter.
I know.
I saw the comments on our preview posts as people were like, rivalry. I don't think it's a rivalry, but I do think it's a matchup that you can always count on to definitely give you some extra chaos, yellow cards. It didn't help. It was raining this past weekend. It was such a gross first weekend of May.
Yes.
But it's not a rivalry. I just feel like it's like that's the distant cousin that you don't like.
But think of like DC as a whole, right? Like all the sports, like they seem to be little brothers in every single league.
They are. And that's why I don't consider it a rivalry. I think rivalry means like both teams are always good, always have a chance of winning and competing for the top of the conference. And DC United's not really there right now. Now this season's been much better for them.
Yeah.
Because of the way Christian Benteke's playing alone, but I don't see them as, I do see them as like the little brother or sister, or like I said, the cousin that's like the annoying distant cousin.
Well, so here's the problem, because the Red Bull used to say that about us all the time, and now they're like, "Oh, Philly, I hate those guys. They're beating us all the time now."
Yeah.
No, but it's funny because like we all forget, like Renee, DC was the first dynasty in this league. Like many moons ago.
That's been a very long time.
Yeah, and like obviously they had a lot of heated matchups with the Metro Stars and the Red Bull, and then NYCFC came in, then we came in, and so they kind of just fell through the cracks. They're like the 4th biggest team.
Well, it's hard to maintain that too. That's the other problem. Like how many times do you see dynasties across sports that fizzle out after a few years? You know, you're winning championships. I mean, right now we're in the midst of seeing it in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors dynasty's over. You know, we saw it with the Patriots in football. Like everybody has a fall from grace at some point where they are the top team across their respective league, and then it drops off because it's hard to maintain that, and it's hard to keep guys. It's hard to keep once you're winning. Everybody wants your coaches, your players. It's hard to keep you.
We're going through that now.
That's what the Philadelphia Union are going through. And first of all, let me just say I'm tired of the questions, especially post game, to Jim Curtin about players' futures with the union. That is not the time for that. And I was listening to it in the post game for this past weekend. Now, the union had another comeback game. Mm-hmm. They've had 5 games in a row now where they've been winless. And in 4 of those 5 games, they trailed by 2 or more goals. Of course, against RSL, they trailed by 1 goal. Every single game has been a comeback game for them. And yet again, they have a chance to, as you mentioned, break the losing streak after dropping 2 straight, get 3 points. They don't do that. They get a tie. It was rainy, ugly. We saw all these things happen. Leon Flock returns. You see Ali Bedoya in the starting lineup. You see Jack McGlynn with a beautiful goal. All these things that you can talk about. Yet the questions that are being asked to Jim post-game and the things that people are talking about post-game are, well, Jack McGlynn scores a beautiful goal like that. How long until you think somebody's going to be buying him? And what about Damian Lowe? And this is not the time. I wanted to hear from Jim specifically more about and I wasn't live in the press conference, so that's on me. I should have been there. But I want to hear more about what changed. And I know he talked about the changes at halftime, and we'll get into all of that in the recap of the game. What did they talk about in halftime? What did you like? What didn't you like? What was the decision behind Damian Lowe starting? These are the questions we need answers to, not about the future, because that's not Jim's job. Right. He's not the one involved in those conversations.
Write these contracts?
No. And he's like, I'm just here to coach whoever's here.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to help them be the best they can be. And hopefully, they're here with us for as long as possible. But whenever they leave, I'm happy for them. But I'm like, it was cringy almost, and it was weird. And it's like, how many people are going to ask the same questions about Julian, Daniel, Jack, Nate, Quinn, Damian, everybody's future with the team? We don't know. We don't know the future, but we know the now. And the now is this team has to stop falling into a trap of slow starts, trailing early, and crawling themselves out of a 1-goal deficit, 2-goal deficit, or maybe a 3-goal deficit.
That's just like the unfortunate nature of sports, right? You brought up the Warriors. How many of those years, especially as of late, as they're getting older, coming towards the end of the dynasty, where they have to answer those exact questions that you're bringing up right there. And so for the Union right now, listen, coming off of 2 losses, obviously you're going to get some tough questions. He had a draw here. You didn't get a win. Draws points, but you didn't get the win. You're going to unfortunately have to ask those questions. Earlier in the year, Renee, the question was about Jim Curtin and his security with the team, because obviously when you're not starting off hot, and you've been around here for a while, that's the one thing everyone wants to look at. Unfortunately, these distractions are going to happen. And like I've talked about after the Seattle match, you get the cryptic messages from Andre Blake and El Brujo Martinez. That's hard, but that's professional sports. That stuff does happen.
Exactly.
But it's up to the leadership that you have in front of your club or team. And right now, our leadership is pretty strong. Jim is proven that time after time.
Yeah.
I mean, you even look at last year was the perfect example, right? You had the drama with Kai, the drama with Ali, and the Union still took care of business handedly in the first round against New England.
Do you think some of these slow starts are because of some of this frustration that the guys are feeling? I mean, I looked at a game like Saturday and felt as though it was a carryover from Andre's injury, as we know, having the fluid drained from his knee. He's not 100%. Right. He's not ready to be back. So he's posting stuff on Instagram. Jose's posting stuff on Instagram. Obviously didn't get the start. How much do you feel like there is more going on behind the scenes and that's being let off? Whether it's frustration with Jim, playing time, results, whatever, because Jim talked about this last week in the press conference, and this is the reality. This is one of the issues of running it back with the same group. It's the same players coming back again. And as we talk about the dynamics of the little brother, little sister, within your own team, you get that too, where you kind of get tired. You're talking and working with the same people. You're having the same issues over and over again. And you're getting frustrated because of that. You know, you're competing against the same guys year after year. This team has been one of the healthiest teams across the league over the last 5 years. They've had that consistency, which means they've had the same 11, 12, 13 guys, the core that's played together. So now these long seasons of starting training in January, February, playing all the way through November, taking off for a month to repeat is with the same group. And after a while, as competitors, as, strong personalities are going to butt heads. And I wondered, looking at yet again another slow start where the second half things clicked and now suddenly the team can wake up when they're down, if there's possibly a chance the Union are running into some frustrations of just being burnt out of each other almost. is there more going on behind the scenes than we realize that's carrying over into them not being ready come game day?
No, you're 100% right. Like the big thing about it is, like you said, this team's been together for 3 years. And to bring it back to like that Warriors point, like that Warriors team had Clay, Steph, and Draymond. They had that strong core.
Mm-hmm.
But around them, Renee, it was always changing around. There was constant change with the players outside of the top 3. And for the Union, I mean, think about it. It's been like the same starting 10, 11 players for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, listen, in a season, there's always those lulls. There's always like that time, like in the season where, everything's not running as smoothly as it was in the beginning of the year. And the problem was, Renee, this all started after that bye week. They go into that bye week. They're cold and they come back out of it. They're not playing at that high gear that we're used to seeing them. And then now you're getting this drama on top of that. So it's just a microcosm of different things that are happening all at once. But this is one of the things, like, listen, there was positives and there was negatives to running it back for the third straight year. Positive is, yes, this is still one of the better teams in Major League Soccer. We all understand that. But the downfall of that is as well, that this team has been together for a couple of years now. And it's very hard to continue that consistency with the same teams when other teams are constantly improving. Yeah. And so we're going to have to wait to see. Like, I don't think that this is the Union all the rest of the way through. I still think, again, they are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and they will prove that come playoff time. But for right now, it just does not look good. And it's frustrating, right? Because, like, especially like you look at it as a sport, as a Philly, let's look at it as a Philly sports fan, right? It's the lull of the calendar in the year. Sixers or Flyers are done. We're going into baseball. And speaking of which, both of these sports are very long. So you still have a lot to play in here for the Union. The tie was big, but you want to get a win streak going. And hopefully Saturday, we'll talk about that later on in the week, but hopefully Saturday it gets it going. But no, I really do think that what we saw this past Saturday in our nation's capital, they could definitely build off, but we'll talk about what they need to do.
Yeah, and I do want to keep in mind, for perspective, the Union are still undefeated on the road. There's another positive. This is a group that, although there's been some frustrations the last 5 games because they haven't won in any of those, they are still undefeated on the road. They do have those 2 losses, unfortunately, the back-to-back. But we've seen the resilience. We've seen them fighting back. We've seen them scoring goals. And the offense has been something that we had been talking a lot about, especially in the offseason, of who's going to be able to help them score goals. How are they going to be able to build around Julian Carranza, because we don't know about his future. Well, we're seeing Jack McGlynn, that's back-to-back games he gets a goal. We're seeing Ali Bedoya with his second goal of the season. We're seeing Nate Harrell getting into the attack and creating some really great chances down to the end. There's been more offensively, but now the issue has been on the defensive side, and that to me makes sense because of the injuries. Andre Blake being out, and I'm going to pull up, and I meant to do this sooner, pull up the numbers of how many games he's played in. But Andre Blake, another injury it's been for him, every body part it feels like. And now it's his knee. But when you look at the fact that he's out, and he's a guy that has been a staple of this team. Jack Elliott and Jacob Glessens have been staples of this team, and they're not playing great. Listen, Jacob, in my opinion, has been a step slow. And I hate to say this, but I watched a lot closer against Seattle. I was watching him off the ball and where he was going and how he was moving. And he's getting caught a little bit out of position. And I wonder how much from his hernia surgery last year and missing the end of the season into this year, he is older also. He's one of the 30-plus crew. I wonder how much maybe he's dropping off a beat.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And listen, Ali's doing well because they're not relying on him for a lot of minutes. So he gets to start sometimes, he's off the bench sometimes. His minutes have fluctuated. Jacob Glessens and Jack Elliott have played a lot of big minutes over the years, and they're still expected to play a lot of big minutes. But Glessens is not looking the same. Yeah. And I think that the last few games, especially, I've noticed goals, and I'm not saying they're directly just his fault, because like I always say, you got to get through all 11 to score. But it's plays where he's fully out of position. He's not marking up. The first goal, he's on nobody. The second goal, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head where he was. But there's been many goals I've seen now that I've been paying attention to where he's out of position, he's not on someone, he's facing the wrong way, his shoulder, he's not ready. As a center back, there's basic things that you always have to make sure you're doing. Getting your shoulders square upfield, getting your hips behind the ball, your clearances, your marking, you're getting organized. He's one of the best guys in the air for them. But he hasn't been himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's maybe also hurt in a way that maybe he's not saying, or his fitness isn't where it's supposed to be, or maybe he's just aging, because that happens to all of us. But he is one that I feel like with all the changes in the back line, Kai and Nate have been steady. Oliver Zemla, the goals, I don't really feel like are his fault. And I do feel like the center back issue has been the biggest issue defensively as to why the whole team isn't great. On top of the midfield is not always matching up.
Right.
Like, it's a team effort to defend. It's not just the back four. It's not just the goalie. And unfortunately, you look at these goals this past weekend, yet again a chance where the middies are not matched up, goal side, touch tight. You've got late runners into the box that are able to finish. You've got a ball in transition. Now that one's that's bad organization in transition. But these are things that, like, your center mids, your center backs have to be the ones that help to clean up. Transition goals and any late runners, anything in the box in general, off of services, you guys got to be matched up. And the Union defensively aren't doing that. I know Jim mentioned it. They've been talking about it a lot, but it's not sinking in. And we saw that again today, which is how this weekend, which is how they ended up down 2-0.
Yeah, no. Like, I think it's important to talk about the defense, but give me, off the top of your head, when was the last time they had a clean sheet?
They have one. Andre Blake had one. His first game back from injury after they lost to Pachuca. Who did they beat? It wasn't. What was that early win? They won 1-0. Am I right?
There wasn't a 1-0 game, but you're close. You're very close.
It was Andre's return back.
Okay.
They finally got a clean sheet. It's near the Pachuca 6-0 loss. It was like the next MLS game.
The third game after that.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Shucks. It wasn't. Who did they beat 1-0? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Who is it?
It was Minnesota, March 30th. It was 2-0 at home.
Hot diggity dog.
And like, the thing is that, like, you know, shutouts, clean sheets are so hard to do, right? But years prior, they had, you know, quite a few of clean sheets. And that was because of strong defense as a team. Obviously, when you have the best goalkeeper in the MLS, that really does help you. Now, watching this defense over the past couple of weeks, there's a couple of different things I see. Now, let's start off with your point. Glazis, yes. He's been a step off. I mean, I had this conversation with one of our producers, Andrew, before the show. And you know, he's ready to move on from Glazis. And I'm just like, you know, hold your horses just a little bit. Watching the game, I mean, on both goals. You talk about the first one. I don't know where he was, to be quite honest with you.
He was on like the near post, very out of position.
And the thing is that
post. He was on one of the posts.
Yeah. And the thing is that on that first goal, Dejomie should not have had that much space to roam in. Like, that's just clearly unacceptable to happen. And you get across from Jared Stroud. Jared Stroud had a big game off that wing, 2 big assists. Jared Stroud gets that ball in a perfect spot for Dejomie, and he nails it in. Now, granted, I do believe Andre would have saved that, but that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
You're not going to always have Andre Blake. You cannot always rely on that skill of Andre Blake. You need to play better defensively. On the second one, that is all on Jakub Glazis, because the fact is, he looked like Tobias Harris trying to defend out there. Like, he was looking right at Muriel. Like, what? He didn't even, like, put a foot out. He just looked right at his eyes. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do there. And Muriel just got a great shot. Credit to him. And then it's 2-0. And right then and there, Renee, you put yourself in a hole. Like, we shouldn't have to constantly keep coming back. That's just unacceptable. The thing is that Union Soccer, when they are good, they start off quick. They get that lead, and the beauty of it is they always know how to hold that lead. It's very rare when they blow a lead. But another point, too, that while watching this game, Renee, in that first half, Union Soccer, it's intense soccer. You play with high intensity for 90 minutes. They have not done that. In that first half, I did not see that intensity. That's why they put 2 goals up. And another point, too, is like, you know, we always make the joke, like, they don't possess the ball a lot, right? The Union they don't like to have the ball at their feet. And it is what it is. But at some points, Renee, you need to have the ball at your feet.
Correct.
And especially, like, DC was doing a good job in that transition. They were running through that Union transition defense. And in a split of a second, they're on the other side trying to create a chance there. So to me, it's not just about that back line, Renee, it's about the whole entire team. And it's about that attack, not only, you know, keeping the possession of the ball, but playing intense and getting and creating those turnovers with that high press. We haven't been able to see a lot of these different things. And I know we're killing our back line, but to me, it's a team problem.
Yes,
Like there's different things that you can do to help your team defense. And especially when you have a young kid like Zemla, and let's be real, guys, probably have to rely on Zemla for a couple matches with Andre's injury. So things do need to get cleaned up. I am not ready to hit the panic button, but there are things that we can absolutely do that are feasible to not put yourself in a 2-0 hole before half. Or I guess it was 2-1, but still, you guys get the point. You cannot be trailing every single match. You got to play a full 90. That second half was obviously much better, but that has to be the thing through 90 minutes. That's just something Jim's been talking about in his pressers.
Yeah, from start to finish, you just have to play better and just be more proactive, playing on the front foot. Most importantly, you want to protect your young keeper. You want to protect your team. And you know where you can protect yourself and your family? That's right. That's over at Rite Aid. Yes, Rite Aid has all that you need to protect you and your family to stay up to date on your immunizations. You can get the latest information from their trained pharmacist that can give you updates, information, answer any questions you may have around vaccines. Because over at Rite Aid, their pharmacists can vaccinate for RSV, COVID-19, shingles, whooping cough, chickenpox, and much more. This time of year, as you're dealing with allergies, as you're dealing with colds, make sure that you also are headed to Rite Aid and getting all the information you may need. That most vaccines are no cost with insurance and also through their government plans that they have, but also they just give you the ability to be able to book an appointment today, schedule for yourself and your family, and get in there to get whatever vaccines you want from Rite Aid. You can go to riteaid.com/schedule to check out that information. And if you have questions, let's say you have a youngster and your little is under the age of 3, well, over at Rite Aid, they can give you some insight also on vaccines for all ages, the details of what's needed, and how to make sure that you're doing what's best for you and your family. So head on over to riteaid.com. Make sure that you're getting all the information that you need. Of course, Rite Aid also has anything you need around, food, snacks, drinks. If you need those last minute gifts, gift card or a gift bag for those of us like myself that always wait until the last minute to go buy that card or that gift for somebody when you're headed to a birthday party, some wrapping paper, and you're in the car trying to wrap the gift or put it in a bag. Rite Aid can help you do that. They also have a lot of information that you need and medication that you need for allergy season, the over-the-counter Flonase and different things like that. So check out all the details on their vaccine centers at Rite Aid specifically. If you are looking to get that dedicated pharmacist that can be ready to administer any vaccines, answer all your questions, and make sure that if you have any questions on what immunizations you need, you're not sure if you're up to date, you're feeling nervous to ask questions, a Rite Aid pharmacist will take the time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns. So no questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State age and health restrictions may apply. Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for details today and head on over to your local Rite Aid near you.
That is right. You don't want to listen, guys. You don't want to gamble on your health, but something you can gamble on is possibly your favorite team, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right, guys. It's a good time to let you know that our show is brought to you by the BetParx app. Get in the zone right now with the BetParx app here today. Money's in the moments. Guys, right now we are obviously in the heart of the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs. We also got the MLS season, the MLB season under swing. So we got plenty of different things to gamble on here today. Maybe you want to pick some of your favorite lines, or maybe you want to gamble on one of your favorite underdogs you see there. That's what you could do with the BetParx app here today. Win big with all-day action. Win your first $10 bet and earn up to $125 in sports bets. You play for fun, you love to win, and you bet BetParx. Download the app today and play along with us. You must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. That is right. So our producer Tyler's got a quick tidbit here. That's why we love Tyler. Tyler's always got her back here. He says the Union had 10 clean sheets in 2023. And we are right now in, the fourth? I can't do math right now. We're in our fourth month here of the MLS season, and we only have, I believe, one or two? One clean sheet?
Yeah.
It's pretty different, guys. It's a pretty
Not
different
good.
team.
And I will say, guys, those clean sheets didn't always translate to wins last year. There were 4 times the Union drew 0-0. So 4 of those 10 clean sheets, they only got 1 point out of. Which, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that's probably the difference between competing for a supporter shield and not.
Yeah. Points are important.
I mean, that's the thing. When you have the ability to hold a team scoreless, that just obviously, we're all smart people. That sets you up for a better chance to at least get a tie. Like, at the very least, you're getting a tie, not a situation where you're giving up 1, 2, 3 goals. And then the other thing, I know Jim had touched on this too, that we all have to keep in mind as we're talking through guys like Jacob Glesnes, who might have had just a lot of minutes that he's played, and Andre Blake dealing with injuries. These types of games, on top of the weather, on top of it already being, road games in general require a little bit more from your schedule. To be trailing game after game after game is physically and mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
To go into halftime and you're down 1 to 3 goals every time is exhausting. And now you're crawling back and you find yourself just happy to have gotten a tie. And listen, this isn't the first time. As we know, earlier this season, we saw this with the Union. We saw this against Sporting Kansas City. That's a game Ali Bedoya scored that late goal to tie things up in stoppage time. We've seen this against Chicago. We've seen this all season from the Union. It's not just a recent thing. It's been worse. I will give you that. I'm not going to hold you. Ever since the off week, it's definitely been worse because now they're giving up 3 goals, 2 goals. But we've actually been seeing them go back and forth with always having to make this like big comeback thing. And the reason I know this is partly because every time I'm going to think of like a title for the show and what we're going to talk about, I'm like, another comeback, another comeback, another comeback. Like, how many comebacks are we going to have here? So for whatever reason, the Union are never ready to start the game. And then they're giving goals. And the goals that they're giving up aren't typically, listen, the goals are goals, okay? So I hate to even say that, but a lot of it is what the Union are doing wrong. As you mentioned with both goals on Saturday, it's them not matched up, them not organized. Damian Lowe gets stretched and pulled out in the first goal. They're not matched up in the box. You're leaving runners wide open, goal. You can't afford to have these lapses and mistakes at any level, especially in the MLS. And so that's the frustrating part, that you can see the breakdowns happening and you can feel the goals coming, but there's nothing that the Union are doing to adjust. And I feel like that's the big difference. In the past, we've seen them make the defensive adjustments necessary, whereas now, like, that goal happens, it's like, it was only a matter of time. Like, I knew that was coming. I'm not the least bit surprised. So the Union have had mistakes. And then on the other side, we've seen even that early play from Quinn Sullivan in the opening parts of the game, when he gets in behind, you've seen them have chances, which can always, of course, help you get out of that rut. If you can put the ball away and be the first to score, it drastically changes the tempo versus your offense is unable to hold possession. They're not finishing. They're not holding possession. You're under attack. Your defense isn't defending well. And now it's only a matter of time before you give up that goal.
Yeah. And I know we're joking around, but guys, like, we're talking about back-to-back home losses. Like, that's something like we haven't talked about a lot over the past couple of years because they just don't lose at home. But that's what we're talking about. Like, this defense definitely just it needs to play better. And that's just the fact of the matter. Like, it's right now, it's been the big problem here with the U. Back-to-back home losses. It's just clearly unacceptable. With the back line, though, especially with Lowe's in there, I just feel like the communication, like, they just don't seem like they're on the same page. And, we're talking about all these comebacks, right? That doesn't bode well either. Like, if you're talking about coming back constantly, like, that is not, you can't sustain that. You can't sustain that play. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they need to, obviously, Orlando is going to be a different matchup. We'll talk more about that later. But when you're coming out here against Orlando, we need to see that high intensity for those full 90 minutes. And that's really what you saw there in that first half. There was just a lack of intensity when they don't play like that. I mean, that's what you see. You see Jacob Glesnes staring at Mario while the ball's going right by him for a goal. So things definitely need to get cleaned up defensively. But I do think that more so, obviously, I know we're talking a lot about that back line, but I think more so it's just a team thing. And there's different things that they can do to help out that back line, like we talked about, with more possession, putting more shots on goal. Renee, this team is not built to win shootouts. They have done it before, but they are not built to win shootouts. They want to keep the score low, right? And they want to defend, and they want to try to get those clean sheets. And right now, they're not getting those. And so that's been the problem here. I know we got 3 points in these last 3 matches, 1 point in these last 3 matches. So defense needs to improve upon. Attack needs to get some more quality shots, and we'll see what happens. You got to help out Zemlin. This is going to be the big part for these next couple matches.
Yeah. I was just doing a quick gander through the results because it got me to thinking. It feels like we've seen the Union also just give up a lot of goals, and so of the 14 games they've played across all competitions, in 9 of those games, the Union have given up 2 or more goals. Yeah. And only 3 of them resulted in loss. I'm counting the legs of CONCACAF as 2 separate games because it's 2 different 90 minutes of course it's an aggregate, but it's 2 different 90-minute games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so obviously one is a 6-0 loss to Pachuca, but then also the back-to-back losses that we just saw against RSL and Seattle. So it hasn't even directly resulted in losses. They've been tying those games, or even coming back and winning that game, such as the game that we saw against Deportiva Saprissa very early on, that 3-2 first leg aggregate win. But it's only May. Like, we just celebrated Cinco de Mayo. It's the first week of May. And at this point in the season, over half of your games, you're giving up 2 or more goals, and you're having these dog fights. And every single game for the Union has been that. It's been down to the wire. It's been last-second goals. And I don't even mind a 0-0 down to the wire. Or like a 1-0, 1-1. But 2-0, 3-0 fights, that's a lot to have to handle. And so I'm glad that we had a chance to see someone like Leon Flach come back this weekend, because this is the time that the Union do need to take a hard look at what can we do to realistically change. And that's a question like I want to pose. Like, all right, we see the struggles. We know it's wrong. We know it's not good. Jim's mentioned, he's like, listen, at this point, we almost don't even want to talk about it, because we all know. And the more you talk about these types of issues, sometimes it almost perpetuates it, because it's on your brain so much that you're overthinking things. And this team has to get back to doing what they do best, playing confident, as they talk about, and just playing, honestly. Playing hard, playing up-tempo, high pressing, having fun. But right now, that's not the case. Right. So what does need to change? I think the first thing is I like Leon Flach back in the midfield. He obviously adds a lot more. You can tell he's still not 100%. He's still not ready to go a full 90, at the pace of the game. But he does give you somebody else that can be a true midi, like a true midfielder that's winning the ball, winning 50-50s. Obviously, that was a big key for them going into this weekend, first and second balls. He helps with that. He helps with at least trying to maintain possession. He helps on the defensive side and the offensive side. So I think getting him back to as close to 100% as an everyday starter, since he missed about 9 months of injuries on and off, getting his confidence going, getting his touch going is definitely one of the first areas. And I would like, for them to solidify, like, is it more of a 4-4-2 with a diamond midfield? What is that? What does your midfield look like? Because I think that'll also be helpful. And I think he can be a big part of that. Now, how does that work with Jose, Ali, Quinn, Jack, Daniel? I don't know, JP.
It's pretty deep in that midfield right now.
It just got deep.
Yeah, it's got a lot of depth there. No, it was so good seeing Leon back. And obviously, look, you just talked about it. Listen, 9 months. He's going to have to get back into the rhythm of playing every single match, because he was the every match starter at that left side of that shuttle midfield. So it's going to be interesting to see. One thing I'm really intrigued by with Leon coming back is that transition defense, like we mentioned. Like, he's, in my opinion, obviously besides Eduardo Martinez, probably the best defensive-minded midfielder that we have. And so he's going to be able to help with that. The one thing I want to look forward to as he gets more comfortable playing more is how he helps with the attack. That was one of the problems, is, moving the ball up from that left side. It was always a little bit iffy, but I felt like before he got hurt, he really improved upon that side. And so obviously now he's got to get back to that. So it's really fun. But, Renee, it really does bring up a good question, what Jim does in that midfield, because, we still haven't talked about probably the goal of the season. Jack,
I know. Isn't
Jack
that crazy?
McGlynn. And we all know what Jack brings. Jack brings a lot of creativity. He brings you a possibility of a screaming goal like that. But defensively, he's been more willing to defend. He's been more physical from the small sample size that we've seen this year. But he's not Leon Flach. He's not as fast as Leon. I don't think he's as physical as Leon. So we're kind of, when you're going to probably play some of those, like a Red Bull type of team, like those teams that just press the crap out of you in every facet of the game. Do you go with Leon? Do you go with Jack? And those are going to be some of those tough questions that Jim is going to have to figure out. But I think for right now, just run. I think you got to split it. I think it's got to be half of 50 Leon, 50 Jack, especially considering whatever the matchup may be. But you need to use both of them, because I think both of them have skill sets that really can help you down the line.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like. I have to really think this through, of like, what's the best way for the midfield to flow, because there's a lot of talent there now. There is more depth in midfield, which is something that we've been talking about wanting. And it is important that, you want that pop down the midfield. You want to solidify the middle. It works down the middle of the field is where everything thrives. That's where your best players are. That's where your playmakers are. And you have to build from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really what it is there. And so obviously they can attack with the wide, like when you have Nate and when you have Kai Wagner, which ironically we haven't really seen a lot of Olivier Mbaizo. When he's out there, he really stretches it out too. But that center of the pitch has really been something they need to hit more often, right?
Yeah,
attack through there, get some better opportunities through that center part of the pitch. And so we'll have to wait and see, but they have some work to do here. Renee.
They do. And JP, you know who else can help down the middle?
Who's that?
I don't know. You tell us, JP.
Let's talk to you guys a little bit about my favorite drink, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I'm going to listen, guys. For our Saturday match here, there's only going to be one thing and one thing only that I'm going to be drinking here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Olipop. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my favorite. Guys, you're soda fans like myself, right? You like all the classic tastes. Well, Olipop not only is super tasty, it tastes just like soda, but it's good for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's the world's first functional soda with a classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients to support that gut health, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the first soda with only 2 to 5 grams of sugar and only 9 grams of fiber per can. That's where all the healthiness comes from, guys. You got to get your fiber, and it's extremely important. The best part about it is that they're available in 30,000 retailers nationwide, including the recent launch and our favorite. I know you guys want it on the kit. They're at Wawa right now, ladies and gentlemen. So you can get your coffee in the morning, get your Olipop for lunch. It is set. They got some of the best flavors like classic root beer, strawberry, vanilla are available right now at Wawa. But if not, they're in Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite. And if you're here in the city to get your Coke Puff on, get it delivered right to your house. But if not, if you're watching live, it's at the bottom left of your screen there. You use the promo code PHLY20. It'll get you $20 or 20%, I'm sorry, 20% off your next Olipop order. This discount applies only to one-time orders, not to subscription orders. And Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com or on Amazon. So take advantage of that deal. Get your Olipop, but for what I like to say, our Pizza Friday nights. We'll have it with our pizza this upcoming Friday. But thank you to our friends over at Olipop.
Yeah, and while we're talking about being more things that are more oh wow, let me try again. Yeah, and while we're talking about things that are good for you, let's talk about things that are good for your pockets. That's TrueMark Financial Credit Union. There it is. Words, guys, words. So over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they have better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings, and more flexible options for you with all the same digital tools and technology that help make your lives easier. And when you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become a part owner, which means that the profits are coming right back to you instead of going to shareholders. So allowing you to financially be more responsible, plan for your future, and also what we love about TrueMark, they've got local roots. Headquarters are right in Fort Washington, but they've got 24 branches throughout the Philadelphia area. And I know I always pass the one in Philly on Broad Street. They are serving our community and our people right here at home, 24 different branches, easy to find here in Philly. And when you become a member of a credit union, you've got a ton of benefits that you get versus being a customer at a bank. It's much different. It's a total no-brainer for you to become a member of a credit union and make sure that you're financially preparing, you're getting your profits back to you, and you also get the technology and the tools to be able to have all the information right at your fingertips. So head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more, or to be able to find a branch near you. There's 24 in the area. There's got to be one nearby. And that's TrueMark.com/PHLY, which is federally insured by the NCUA.
Awesome stuff.
All right. Well, as we're talking through about the positives, there are definitely some positives for the union, in all seriousness. Looking at Jack McGlynn's play, how he's been so much more offensive-minded, it's been fun to see. You know, back-to-back games, he scores a goal. He's taking shots from distance. He's taking defenders off the dribble. But what I like is there's no hesitation there. You know, Jack McGlynn has always been more of the possession guy. He's not going to be one that's going to – he plays opposite of Quinn. He's not racing up the flank, taking you on 1v1. He's not getting services in. He's more of just the glue. He holds everything together. Stick to me, I stick to you. What is that saying? You're like glue. Remember that? I don't know why I just popped in my head. Something, words are glue, stick to me and stick. What is that? Remember that
You're
saying?
so close.
Oh my gosh, I'm so close, but I can't think of it.
You? What you got, Tyler?
Wait, it's a bullying thing, wasn't it? You would say like...
Yeah, it's I'm rubber, you're glue.
Oh, that's what it is.
Whatever you say bounces off me, sticks to you.
Let's
Yeah, it was like an anti-bullying thing.
That's what it was. That's what. Clearly, I need to pay more attention. I feel like we learned that.
So
in, like,
clearly,
Dare.
you were the bully.
No.
Oh.
Ouch. I got bullied. Okay. I didn't pay attention clearly because I remember getting introduced to that in like Dare and all these things. And
the
you'd
good
be
old
like,
Dare.
I'm rubber, you're glue. But yes, okay. Anyways, Jack McGlynn is glue, and
Jack McGlynn is the bully.
The glue. But he does a really good job of possession, and we're seeing him now become a lot more offensive minded too. And it now makes me wonder, like, realistically, if you can get Leon Flock playing at a high level where he can go 90 minutes. Jose Martinez is more defensive minded. We know we're going to get from El Brujo. He's going to be the one that's fouling people and clogging up the middle. But he plays completely different from Leon Flack, who plays completely different from Jack, who plays completely different from Quinn, who plays completely different from Ali and Daniel. What would you roll out? Like, I'm trying to figure out, because I think part of the issue is we haven't had the back line healthy, but also the midfield hasn't been at its best either. There's been a lot of tinkering. We've seen 3 middies, 4 middies, flat middies, diamond shape. We've seen all different combinations. And although Ali has been fantastic, we know realistically he probably can't start every game.
And he shouldn't.
And he shouldn't. You shouldn't need him to. He should be. I would love for him to be the off the bench reserve because that says a lot about where the midfield's at. So if we're looking at Danny, Quinn, Jack, Leon, and El Brujo, there's 5 there. What are you rolling out?
It's crazy because, like, you know me, I would love to run a 4-3-3 or even a 4-2-3-1 with the skill set of both of these defensive, or I should say these midfielders. You can run, like, imagine you ran like a 4-2-3-1. El Brujo's like that holding guy. Then Jack has that freedom right in front of that to just distribute the ball. Like, I just have all these like crazy ideas in my head, but I know we're not going to run. I know this club just does not want those wingers. You have one winger in Quinn Sullivan. But they're just not going to do that. But I mean, unfortunately for right now, right, they're just going to keep running with that 4-4-2 diamond. They're going to keep changing out Jack and Leon, and on the other side, they're going to change Quinn and Ali. And then at the 6, it's going to be El Brujo, but it's probably going to be interchanged with Jesus. Because you still got to get, we forgot about Jesus.
Oh my gosh, I know. And he played well. He played well against Seattle.
It's just that everyone else is playing much better.
Yeah.
And that's just the tough part about it. And we talk about training. You got to show what you got in training as well. And just right now, those other guys are playing better. It's nothing on him. It's just that everyone else is just playing at a higher level. But I think, like I said, I think it's going to be all up to matchups, right? Like if you're talking about a high pressing team, I probably would want a Leon. If you're talking about a team that likes to sit back a little bit, let's use Jack. Jack can pick teams apart with some of those passes. On the other side, Quinn has been spectacular. But one thing we haven't really talked about, Renee, you've been running Quinn a lot. And I know he's young. I know he's a lot young, but that's a lot. It's either he's running at that 8 as a shuttler, or he's up top with Danny or with Julian. And dude's barely had a break, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And like, I by the way, and Jim's mentioned it too, like the Jack, Quinn, and Nate, those other under 22 kids, so important for what we're trying to do. And we always talk about how important it is that some of these young kids from the youth academy to step up in a big way for this team. Well, guys, you are getting that right now. These 3 players are important parts of this club right now. And they come from that youth academy. They come from right here in Chester. So I think it's been really good to see. But, I want that 4-2-3-1 here, but we're not going to get that.
A 4-2-3-1 could work.
You need that 9. You need that
Can you
strong
have Leon
9.
and El Brujo sitting in as the 2 with Quinn and Julian on the outside and Jack in front of them, and then Danny up top?
That'd be nice. Oh my God.
Or you put Danny on the outside and Julian's, you got flexibility there. Or Jack's on the outside, Danny's sitting in the middle, and Julian's up top. That's probably the better way to do it, actually.
I've been agreeing with you a lot more lately because I do feel that.
Wait, is this a surprise? Are you surprised by this? Why'd you say it like that?
On your Gazak point, because I do think he needs to play more up top.
Exactly, he's not a midfielder in this sense. You don't need him to be. Let him roam up top. Get him now receiving the ball higher up the park, and now he's has less space to have to work to get to goal. Yeah. Like, simplify the game for him. He's a goal scorer. Put him in positions to score goals. And he's not making the runs that Jack or Quinn or Leon will make. I mean, Leon will get there. I like the 4-2-3-1. I'm going to say that again. So that'd be El Brujo and Leon sitting in. And then you have Jack on the left, Danny in the middle, Quinn on the right with Julian up top. And again, you can easily change that around. I was going to say, if you're going to stick with the 4-4-2 diamond, first of all, I want to see Jack Elliott and Damian Lowe, who just had a birthday, by the way. Happy belated to Damian.
The big 3-1.
Oh, yeah. At center back until Jacob Glessens can figure himself out and get playing a little bit quicker. And then I would like to see Jack and Leon on the outside midfield, outside of your diamond, I should say. They can use both feet. I mean, like, they don't have to be on the left side. Let's just stop, squash that. El Brujo, if he's sitting in, he's sitting in. That's fine. With Quinn in front of him. And then up top can be Danny and Julian. And I give them the flexibility, though, that your front three can interchange.
Okay.
So now Quinn might sometimes make a run up and Danny drops in for him. Like, I would want it to be a 4-4-2 with them having the freedom to just go. Now, the backups become Ali comes in for one of the middies, Jesus comes in for one of the middies, and you can easily bring in Ua, Chris Donovan up top. You've got that flexibility. But I think that part of my issue is I think they just need a more offensive. They need guys that can get up and down. You need offensive middies that are also going to get back on defense. El Brujo is more just defensive. I don't really like when he gets forward. He just goes, like, against Seattle, I was getting a little frustrated because I'm like, you're dribbling out of bounds. You're dribbling into defenders. He's not an attacking. He's trying, and I respect that.
Nerve to get pissed at Jim, too, for subbing him, too.
Right,
with your
but
play.
You need somebody that has a little bit more offensive savvy, and he's not that. But I also don't think any of the middies should have to play 90 minutes game in and game out.
No,
so I'd love for you to get to a point where you can rotate, and I think that's part of the issue. I think El Brujo specifically maybe just overextended a little bit. So personally, I think that's what I'm rolling out. And if you want to have El Brujo coming off the bench, you can do that too. Maybe it's Ali that gets to start. You've got that flexibility there. Maybe Quinn starts up top and Danny starts in the midfield. Maybe it's Chris or Ua up top and Quinn's coming off. You've got options, but I think you got to work Leon Flock to be your everyday starter. Like, he's got to get back to that point in the midfield.
And if El Brujo's coming off the bench, expect more cryptic messages.
I know, but you know what? I just feel like you need guys. You need both. Jack is starting to get better at giving both, of getting up and back. Leon, I think, is one of the things I always liked about him in midfield is he's a worker. He's going to get up. He's going to get back. He's going to defend. He's going to slide. He's going to do whatever it takes. You need more middies that have that. I know, Lauren. What's up, Lauren? You're saying Brujo's got to be 40 yards out to get a nice shot. Anyway, exactly. Like, he's more of that. Wait for the first clearance. Ball falls to him. He resets possession or takes a shot sometimes. But he shouldn't be the guy that's making runs forward. That's got to come from your other.
He's such an energy guy. They just feed off that energy. Like, I know, like, it gets frustrating with the yellow cards or getting close to that, but he's just an energy guy.
Let me toss another hypothetical at you.
Oh man. With this team, that's nerve-wracking.
If Jacob Glessens starts playing much better than he is now,
all right,
do you try Jacob and Jack at center back with Damian and El Brujo sitting in for a 4-2-3-1? Damian and El Brujo sitting in the midfield. You've got height, you've got scrappiness, you've got 50-50 ball winners, and then in front of them can be whoever. Jack, Quinn, Danny, with Julian up top. You've got some flexibility there. I mean, Renee, I haven't seen Damian in the midfield, but I really feel like his game, just watching how he moves and how agile he is and how well he reads the game, he covers a lot of ground, and his speed and his height, I really do think he'd be really good in the midfield for them.
If I see a midfield with 2 6s that are low and El Brujo, we're all going to lose our hair.
No!
Because those two...
But then it allows the front five to be able to go.
Yeah, until those guys to make a huge gamble, and they're like the back lines all by themselves. No, I mean, no. I so low, I get what you're saying.
It's a risk. But Kai and Nate get up the park anyway. So the reason why I like it, and I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm going to let you finish, Taylor. Kai and Nate get up the park anyways. So this allows them to be able to go because easily, let's say Nate gets pulled out of position, Damian just drops back in for you. The same way that El Brujo drops in, but now it's Damian dropping in. His role is to cover. Like if one of them goes, you slide in. If one of the center backs get pulled out, let's say similar to the same goal that we just saw Saturday, the goal they gave up, Damian got pulled out, Jacob's out of position. But now if Jack or Jacob gets pulled out, you still have 2 center backs that are dropped in the box, helping you clear the ball out. It's the ultimate defensive weapon to have 3 center backs in the same area, but now instead of a 3-back, you still have flexibility to go. And on the other side, you tell Quinn, Jack, Julian, Danny, interchange and just go, just play. Because you do have like a back six now, in a sense, that defensively should be able to stop transition, win 50-50 balls, help you regain possession. It's a risk because I haven't even seen Damian at the six. I have no idea what it even looks like. But I'm just going based off of like, right now, what they're doing isn't really working that great. Try something new, and it's a risk that could possibly help.
Oh my God. That is definitely risky. And just for that fact, I'm not in with both of those because I would be so nervous with both of those two running at sixes. Because like those guys, they like to be too flashy sometimes. Like that's the problem. Like they like to take a little bit too many risks. And you're talking about both of your sixes. That's why like I think the best medium would be like Leon El Brujo or Jack and El Brujo.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I think they would balance them out. You can't have plus and plus. You need plus and minus. There's your science lesson.
Okay, protons and neutrons. I remember that.
So I mean, listen,
electrons and everything. Was that what they were?
I mean, you know what this team needs, Renee. Like the defense is gonna be fine. Like I think
the defense will be fine.
The defense will be fine.
But I'm just trying to brainstorm some ideas. I think ultimately it is just it's simplifying things. You rotate your 3 center backs between games, which I hate to even say do. Like you got to lock in who's your top 2, and then the third one is just when needed as a spell. If someone's injured or something. And then your midfield is literally El Brujo, Leon, Jack, Quinn.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, defensively, they have the depth in both the midfield and in the back. What they really need, Renee, is just another mix in that attack. And oh, by the way, your boy Ua had played 24 minutes in this match. We didn't even talk about him.
I'm okay with that.
That's not okay. We can't be having our DP player.
Well, his money needs to be changed in the future. But I think right now that's what he is. He's not playing better than anybody else in the attack. I mean, him and Chris Donovan are doppelgangers at this point.
I think I'd take.
They're like the same person.
I think I'd take the Drexel Dragon over.
Yeah, because at least he's not your DP. But you have for both Ua and Chris Donovan and Marcus Anderson, even if you want to slot him in that category. They're not playing better. He's not playing better than Quinn Sullivan, Julian Carranza. Jack McGlynn is scoring goals for you.
I would just love to know what they're thinking in the front office about that. Because they have to see this. The production's not matching the money at all. Like, and I hate to be that guy because, like, it was the one thing that drove me nuts is we would always bring up Tobias Harris's contract. I'm like, no, he's making $180 million. But he's not playing well. It doesn't matter the money. Right now, you're looking at Ua. I know what his contract is. But I just need more from someone of that stature. We're talking about putting ball in the back of the net. Like, he's just not doing that at a consistent rate. And now we're talking about 24 minutes. It's just unacceptable, Renee.
Financially, he should be playing more. But talent-wise, he's right where he's at. Yeah. Like, I think it makes sense. His minutes have to go down. You're not producing. You're not getting better. And I think, to be honest, it's quality over quantity. When you have less minutes to play. Oh no. When you have less minutes to play and it's now 24 minutes here, 30 minutes here, I think Ua will give you more for that. He's not a 90-minute player right now. He just kind of disappears and he's not giving you anything offensively. So yeah, the Tobias comparison is extremely spot on. And it's disappointing. It's very disappointing. But you can't continue going to him just because he's getting paid so much. He's not playing. You got to have a seat.
Yeah, no. It's just frustrating. And we'll obviously talk more about that before Orlando this upcoming weekend. But
JVR.
James Van Riem's like, guy's about to win a Stanley Cup now. That's going to be awesome. But did you see our boy, our former athletic director, Ernie Stewart?
No.
Renee, listen, you're the queen of the dance moves here, all right? So I got the clip right here.
These moves?
So PSV, shouts to PSV. They want.
Oh, I did see this actually.
I wish we could put this up on the. So I know everyone in Union Nation already saw this, but Ernie Stewart, imagine if he would have done these dance moves in Chester, we would have been talking about 3 MLS Cups.
Thrust for me. It's a lot of thrusting going on.
Oh,
but
with
then
the
footwork. Now that's impressive. He had to warm up.
Ernie.
Not the running man. See, I stopped watching this video. I didn't realize I should have kept watching. I stopped watching before it got good.
Why is he the dad at the wedding?
No, literally, he's literally the dad at the wedding. It's the running man and him just sliding in and out of different dance moves, casual. Oh, okay.
Did they win the league? Is that what it is?
I guess so, yeah.
He's got the beard dripping on it.
Make it rain. I like it.
Man.
I like it. Listen.
That's gonna
He's got some moves. Stewart's got some moves.
It's gonna be
He had
me
to
if
warm
we win
up.
the
He
MLS
started
Cup.
warming up with some classic thrusts, and then elevated it into a full body thing. He had to clear some space out.
Yeah, you have to think like if we were to win an MLS Cup, what would Ernst do in the dressing room?
Who do you think would be the craziest dancer? Like, who'd be the most surprising?
The most.
I feel like every championship, you see somebody in the locker room or the
our fellow LaSalle alum. I want to see Richter dance.
No, he does not dance. I can tell you as somebody that went to school with Ryan Richter, I've never seen that man dance at a single party.
Because he hasn't won a big major championship like that.
That's true. Winning a championship brings a lot out of you. That is some different emotions, and you're doing some different things.
I'm looking at the coaching staff. That's the thing. Like,
okay.
like players.
Because we know Jim's gonna bust a move.
Oh yeah.
Like it might not be great, but he already has shown us like he's got personality. He's got some swag with his outfits. Jim's gonna definitely break out a move or two. Is it Jay?
Give me one of the raising the
Is
roofs.
It Ernst?
Ernst? Oh man, Ernst? No, Ernst.
It's like, you saved me. You kept my job.
Jay would be the guy that's like, don't open all the champagne. We might not use it. I don't want to lose all that money.
No, dude, he's buying the Corbels, bro.
He's buying the bottom shelf
the
Andre.
Corbels and the Andre. Hey, I like Andre thing. More to
I
say
hope
Jay
so,
Sugarman's
Lord.
gonna show off.
Dude.
Honestly, because at that point you've saved him. It's like, yeah, you guys saved me. I look like a hero.
Oh man, if that happens.
Winning a championship, I feel like for front office, is there a chance to say like, I was right?
He's gonna
My
nickel
moves
and
are
dime
right.
forever.
And he's gonna be it's gonna be like everything I thought and said worked out. So
save all of the corks from the champagne bottles. We can recycle them for 38 cents.
I love it.
Oh man, we gotta make these like what would Jay Sugarman do?
But what moves is he more of a point guy? You know, there's like the people that are like pointing. You know,
I think Jay
I don't know
would
where
give
they're
me a
pointing,
little
but they dance and they're just pointing
shoulder
all
shimmy,
over.
like a bounce, like a.
Okay,
The
because then on the
smile.
other side, there are the people that try really hard. I feel like they know the champagne's gonna be sprayed on them. They've got the center of attention, and they try to like drop it low or do some like.
You and I have been to plenty of weddings. The dad wedding moves is in full effect right here.
Classic.
Right.
You roll up the suit jacket and you hike up your pants a little so you can get some wiggle movement. And next thing you know, you're like,
The belt's gone and everything.
Right, the belt's gone. Like the tie's loosened up.
No, tie's on his head already.
Please, you know what? If for no other reason, Philadelphia Union, please win the MLS Cup just so we can see the dance moves that would be coming out. Because when you really think about it, championships bring out a whole different level of folks that we thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy seeing.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You got anything else, Renee?
I will just say I feel like overall it's like a little bit frustrating, don't get me wrong, to see this past weekend. It was a gross day in general.
Yeah.
I'm not making an excuse. It was gross for everybody. Christian Benteke, oh my gosh. Oh my. Very, very hard to contain Benteke.
It's like those European players. Like they know how to play well, huh?
You know, as they were talking about him and all of his success in the MLS and internationally, I was like, these are the types of guys.
Play for some pretty big clubs.
These are the types of guys that, we talk about, we would love to have for the Union. A guy that has like half his goals in the air off of headers, and he's all over the place, and he's someone that's truly a finisher. Must be nice. But I do feel like this chaos that we're currently seeing, which is minor, knock on wood, please don't be anything worse, is fixable. We saw the Union go through this patch towards the end of last season. That's the only thing that has me a little bit discouraged, but they still grinded out a point.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that maybe they get into a regular routine. Let's also keep in mind they came off of a bye week, then they had a midweek game. Again, excuses. I'm not a fan. Get all the excuses out of here. But maybe getting back into a regular rhythm since they don't play again until this weekend.
We got a little afternoon action now.
Right.
In
Maybe
Florida.
this is what they need to reset.
Is it Florida? I think we're.
I think it's Orlando is coming up.
Orlando's coming up. I just forgot if we're here or there.
Oh yeah, it's
we are here.
7:30 p.m. So that'll be good for a Saturday night game. Then you don't have. Oh, they do have a midweek game next week too, though. All right, I don't know. I don't have any more positivity. That's it for me.
It's gonna be. That's
all I got. That's all I got.
I love it because you got a couple Eastern Conference foes that you know very well, right? Orlando, New York, and New England
too.
We know very well. So a lot of those matches go either way. So it's gonna be a good time right here for the Union to dogfight some of these results out. I mean, right now I think there was some, like you said, there was some positives to take away from DC. And Orlando is a team that's trying to crawl back from the slow start to their season, not doing so well. But it's going to be interesting to see how this team does respond, because like you said, this type of situation happened last year, but that was at the end. You're not even at the midway point of the season here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back. I do like the way that they ended this past Saturday. That's definitely good to see. But, draws is not what we're here for. We're here to get some wins. And oh, by the way, you got to, claim your home again. You got back-to-back home losses. That's not Union soccer. You got to take care of business at home. That's what they've been doing over the past couple of years. So it's going to be important for them to kind of bounce back here and play a full 90 minutes. It's the key.
Yeah. If they can just play the way that they finish games and bring that in the beginning of games, it's easier said than done. I feel like I've seen this happen in the past for so many teams where they're second half teams and they come out slow and it takes them a while to get going. So maybe even evaluating a little bit of their pregame routine. There might be some that can be tweaked in how they're warming up or how they're rolling out, whatever it is, the music, whatever, because they, for some reason, get in the locker room at halftime. They talk about what they can do in the second half and it works. But it's not starting that way. It's not translating into the beginning of games. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It's been 5 games in a row of no wins, but they're still undefeated on the road. They still are in a decent-ish, still middle of the pack in conference standings, and there's still a lot of season left to be played since they're only 10 matches in.
Yeah, no, it's just all all this tough part of the season, just so we can buy Luka Modric in the summer. Then
that's all. There it is.
That'd be freaking awesome. But yeah, guys, this is going to do it for this episode. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll have, like we've been doing, our preview show. We'll try to get a correspondent from down in Orlando. We got some good people down there. So we'll try to get you the eyes from the other side later on this week. So make sure you guys are following PHLY_Union. That is our Twitter account. Follow us on PHLY Sports as well. Subscribe here on YouTube, PHLY Sports. Hit that like button. We always appreciate the love. Find us wherever you stream podcasts as well. Wherever you stream podcasts, you can find us through that too. But for Tyler Zulli behind the glass, I have Renee Washington. Of course, I go by the name of JP Zapata. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. DOOP on, Philly.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.